Have you heard about this personal and professional podcast?
Coaching in Session
with your host, Michael Rearden.
It is that time of the year where we get full throttle into the Christmas season, or maybe even the holiday season. Let's call it that, because they say that you're not supposed to play Christmas music until after Thanksgiving, and that's just one day away from when when this episode is airing. Now, of course, you might listen to this episode after Thanksgiving or on Thanksgiving, but just remember that Christmas music is for after Thanksgiving. And I remember when I was a teacher, we had to practice for the Christmas concert, like starting in October. And I had to listen to Christmas music for too long. And don't get me wrong, the kids sounded amazing. They were great. The parents loved it. Best concert of the school. But for me, I was like, I'm burnt out from Christmas music. Like, I never wanted to hear Christmas music again. Like, even on Christmas, I was like the Grinch. I was like, oh, Jesus, I gotta listen to all these Frosty the Snowman and Jolly Holly Christmas. And I was like, I would rather not. But it wasn't so much of what I needed all the time, right? It was about the ability to be thankful. I could be a part of that, me understanding that, all that work we did was for something good, that this is a time when people come together and, 'tis the season to be jolly. It was something I had to begin to pay attention to more, because during the process, I was like, oh, man, this again. And there was no appreciation there. Of course, I showed up every single day, but the appreciation, it came after. Many people, when it comes to them in appreciating things, they appreciate things after, not before, not during, after, right? If I hold the door open for someone after they walk in, thank you, I appreciate that. Not, wait, I'm not walking in because I got to let you know, thank you. All right. Appreciate you. And then walking in. Now, sometimes in Texas, you get that second one, right? Where you get someone saying thank you before they walk in. But most time people, they walk through the door, then they say thank you. Right? Appreciation comes after. That happens in life. Appreciation comes after good things happen to them. But the moment something bad happens or things like that, you begin cursing, or something's about to come your way that you don't want. You're like, no, and you got it. We sometimes fail to understand that there's so many things to be thankful at all given times. Well, for example, when you wake up, right? Do you say thank you? Or I got another day, I'm good to go? Because there's many people who didn't get a second chance or another chance to wake up and to do the things that they love. But yet we take it for granted. We don't say thank you. Maybe our loved one, our partner, or whatever, they make us breakfast. We sit down and we eat. We don't say thank you. We are not thankful most of the time until maybe we are paying attention, or maybe until it's gone. At this time in the year, I talk about thanks quite a bit because Thanksgiving is tomorrow, right? Where people, they come together, they make their best dishes. Maybe they try a new dish. And I know there's something funny that was a video or something. This is a long time ago. I watched this where they're like, on Thanksgiving, you do not try new dishes. You tried and true dishes. And basically they're saying that we don't want nothing new. We want the best. We want the best of the best, something we could be thankful for, not something that we can hopeful for, like we could be hopeful that this is a good dish. We want something that is going to be a crowd pleaser, not a crowd displeaser. We want to be pleased in a sense. We want to be happy. We want to be joyful. And we want to have the things that we know are going to get us there. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that in a sense. But can we just be thankful for the people around us and for the opportunity to have this feeling? But then again, that feeling could be every day. It doesn't have to be just on Thanksgiving. It's almost like Thanksgiving is a commitment day. I have to be committed to being thankful when the reality is I might not want to be thankful. I might not want to give thanks to anyone or to anything. Maybe I don't have anything to be thankful for. So you could be maybe one of those individuals. You don't have family, you don't have friends, you don't have any type of maybe structure, if you want to call it that. I remember when I came to Texas, and it was just me and my dog. We just left, started a new journey. When Thanksgiving came around, I wanted nothing to do with anyone, my friends or whatever. I just wanted to experience Thanksgiving for myself. It was going to be a first for me. Well, guess what? My friends weren't having it. They were like, "You're coming over for Thanksgiving." And I'm thinking in my mind, I guess, sure, right? It was a very nice Thanksgiving. We had a good conversations and it was a good time, right? But in the back of my mind, I was still thinking, I wonder how Thanksgiving would have been if I was just me, right? Just by myself. I know, even as I got married, just, me and my wife just had Thanksgiving together. Like we had a really big one our first year, and then the second year she had to work. So we didn't really do much. It was just like a very small one. But when I'm with my family, it's typically a big event. So last year we were together for Thanksgiving. So it was a big event and brought pies from Texas, from one of the local bakeries here in Round Rock. It's Sweet Tooth Parlor. So if you are looking for sweets in Round Rock, Texas, Sweet Tooth Parlor is a wonderful place to get some pastries and some delicious treats. I have a sweet tooth. My wife will tell you that, where I have to make sure I don't go all the time to bakeries and these places that are going to give me diabetes. And not that it might, I might welcome it, but then at the same time, I'm going to say, it'll probably be a regret. I'm going to say, what, maybe I shouldn't have eaten all those sweets growing up. I do my best to be disciplined. And I would say I would probably already have diabetes if I was not disciplined. Going to the gym, working out, watching the foods that I eat, meal prepping, all of these different things help me stay on track. But then I have to give myself alternative things like journaling, meditation, things to help my mind stay on track. Because I will be first to admit that I sometimes get too busy. I get busy. Clients and work and, the stress of businesses and stuff like that. I mean, yes, it invigorates me. I don't want to retire from it, but I do have to give more room for appreciation. I remember when I was going through my biggest changes in 2016 and 17, I developed habits to help me be more thankful. Today, my thankful habits are more journaling only. Every morning I would wake up and I would just spend some time and I would just be thankful for the morning. Just be thankful. I would plan. I planned in the morning typically. And typically in the night, I just did some reading, wasn't much planning. I had my schedule for the day, but there wasn't much planning going on. So in the morning, I was thankful just for that opportunity because I think I did it almost subconsciously, planning in the morning, because I said, and this is all internal, tomorrow's not promised. So why am I over here thinking that tomorrow's promised? Why am I over here planning for tomorrow and I might not get it? So I waited. I waited until the morning of, and I said, okay, let me plan for today now that I got it. So it was just always something that, I find humor in how most people, they wait, right? We wait until something bad happens or until everything is done for us to be thankful or for us to take action. The reality is we can take action even when we're not ready, even when it's not promised. We do it all the time, but yet we don't give our mind, our mindfulness to that. For example, we might say we want a big house. Well, guess what? A big house is not promised to you, but yet we think about it. We say we want a fast car. Guess what? That you don't need a fast car, number one. But then number two, you might not even get the fast car, right? But we still think about it, right? There's moments that light us up. They invigorate us, right? They give us hope, right? People, we love hope, right? We want things to come our way, right? We want to have the victory. We want to be successful. But what is true success? I talk about my favorite definition of success on the podcast quite a bit now. It's just, I just love this definition. Is success is needing nothing and having everything. It's so powerful because on Thanksgiving, for example, you might need nothing and you might have everything, right? Maybe everything that you have is your family and maybe the meal that you're going to eat or whatever it be, right? But you could be a person maybe that you need some food, you need some friends, right? You need a place that you could be thankful that you're in. Depending on your situation, of course. What are you doing about it? If you are in a good place, are you enjoying that good place? If you are not in a good place, what are you doing to get to that good place? Because if you are not in that good place right now, the only thing that you have to do is to look at what you do have. Do you have shoes? Maybe you do, right? Maybe you have clothes on your back. Maybe you have a roof over your head. Maybe you have some food that you can eat. Maybe you have a friend, a dog, a cat, whatever it be. Maybe it can be just as simple as that you are alive. And maybe you can be even a really dark spot. And you don't wish for any of those things. Maybe you wish for death. Like you just like, I don't want any of this anymore. You could be in that deep, dark place too. Now, I'm not saying that you should be thankful for those dark moments all the time. But what I will say is if you can overcome with help most of the time, some assistance, or just your resilience and your grit, you're going to look at that moment as one of your trials. And in that trial, you're going to say, you know what? I was able to overcome that. I can overcome something even more challenging. Or if something that is less of a challenge, and now you're like, cakewalk, walk in the park. Thanksgiving is more of a time for you to realize it's almost like Valentine's Day, where you realize your partner and you're like, oh, I love my partner and I got to let them know I appreciate them. Thanksgiving is a time where you appreciate everything you should be thankful for and you appreciate them. Thanksgiving can also be a discipline where every day we give thanks. Every day we give structure. Every day we say, you know what? I'm going to be thankful for today. I'm going to be thankful for what I have and what I will have. Because we become so busy in our fast-paced society, right? We're always moving so fast. We're trying to get everything. It's like we have to be 50 places at once. When the reality is you just have to be present. You just have to be right here. Right now wants you. Right now needs you. But we give our attention to something else. Slowing down and paying attention and being able to journal and being able to, just chew your food as a metaphor. You can begin to taste it. I know if someone is really hungry or really thirsty, they'll like gulp their food down or chug their water. If you are not really too hungry or if you're disciplined to slow down, you get to appreciate what you have. They say that you're not supposed to chug water anyway, but if you do, it tastes like nothing, right? But if you take a little sip, you're like, you can feel it go down your throat. Maybe it's a little bit warm for being in the car. If you're in Texas, maybe it's cool, got ice in it, so you could feel that. All of this, is something that you could be thankful for. But we turn on the faucet and, it's almost like an expectation for us. Yet there's people in the world who don't have running water, let alone food. Maybe you get a nice big quarter pounder from McDonald's or McBack, whatever they got, and some fries, and you're like, no, 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 and you just chew it all up. And it's nice, right? It tastes whatever, right? I haven't had McDonald's and I can't even tell you how long, 10 years or longer, who knows, right? But I'm not an advocate for McDonald's. I don't believe fast food is good food, but I understand sometimes you will have fast food because maybe you're on a road trip or things like that. And it might be just the most convenient thing. I understand maybe you don't have the money. You're just looking to fill your belly, to get some type of thing inside of you, some type of nutrients, even though it's not really nutritious. Depending on, who you are, just in general, growing up, you're going to gravitate toward certain things more. One of the things I want to instill within my children is, just appreciating the food. Like, let's eat more slowly. And I'm not saying that I want them to be at the table longer, but then again, being at the table is actually a good thing if you have the family around, mom and dad and siblings and everyone, grandma and grandpa, depending on, your living situation, you might be able to have all the family come together. And that could be a moment where there's conversation, there's, people opening up, there's learning, there's communication. But in our world today, everything is kind of like, yeah, just take your food and see you later, right? Growing up, we sat at the table a couple of times, but it always seemed like we went somewhere different. We went in front of a TV, or if we sat down, we didn't talk. Maybe it was because they say don't talk with your mouth full, but we didn't think to, swallow the food and then say, okay, let me start speaking. On Thanksgiving, though, you definitely have more conversation, but it could be of the food sometimes. Like, oh, who made this potato salad? Oh, it's pretty good. Okay, yeah, this chicken's really good too. Yeah, the green beans are real nice. So you're just kind of talking about how good the food is. And there's nothing wrong with talking about how good the food is. We do have to be real in a sense. Like, what is truly real? Of course, food is real, but like, what is real conversation? And I know there's certain people who are like, I don't want the fluff. Like, I don't want the sugary stuff. Like, I want to dive deep, right? I want you to be 100% real with me. Not, oh, let's beat around the bush long enough so, we can eat all our food and then later say, our goodbyes, maybe take a plate home and can't wait to get home to eat that plate in our silence in front of our TV and gobble it up so we don't have to have manners. I don't know, right? There's just so many different aspects. But if you just chew your food and taste your food and you eat more slowly, it's more enjoyable, truly more enjoyable. Plus, you give your brain a chance to say it's full, where you're not just like gobbling things up. And you create more room for that communication at the table. Your kids can speak to you, husband, partner, whatever, spouse, wife. That right there can also be good communication because you're creating the room for people to be thankful, right? To appreciate, to see what they have. Because if we're moving so quick, right? We're just doing things so quick. We can't see what we should be thankful for because we're always just kind of looking for the next spoonful, right? I'm going to get this in my mouth. I'm going to get this in my mouth. I'm going to get this in my life. If we keep doing that, we're going to look back one day and we're going to see a bunch of crap behind us and say, whoa, look at all this stuff, right? Maybe you have a garage or an attic and it's just full. For me, I like to declutter. Every couple of months, I'm like, okay, this is gone. This is gone. This is gone. It's because I don't use certain things sometimes, right? Yeah, sure. It might have been something I used in the moment, maybe one time, two times, whatever it be. Maybe I tried it and I didn't like it. Clean out your pantries or something like that. You're like, I don't eat this food anymore. And you throw certain things or you donate certain things if it's not expired. All of these different things are things that we should be doing on a daily basis or at least a consistent basis where we're checking in. Because if we can check in, we can be thankful. If we can do the work to say, you know what, this is in my life. All right, let me be thankful for it. Because they say you don't miss what you have until it's gone. And that's very true, right? They say when a loved one dies, you're like, oh man, remember that time when, when are you going to take action? When are you going to be paying attention? Because at some point, that when is going to run out. We can say all the hopeful things and mantras and attritions, and we can say, you know what? I'm going to be a better person. And I'm going to make sure I tell everyone I love them and thank you all the time. But the reality is you're going to fall into your homeostasis, your comfort once again. Now, it could be a good thing. It could be a bad thing. You can develop a new level of discipline where you are saying more thank yous and you are being a better person, etc. I'm not asking you to be fake. I'm just asking you to, pay attention, right? Because you might be a person that doesn't want to say thank you. You might be a person that feels like no one deserves your thanks. You have to ask yourself, for the majority of people, they are afraid to die. They don't want death. So they cling to life, even if they're not thankful for it. They would rather have something that they're not thankful for than something that they're afraid of. In a sense, our mindset is skewed to how we are viewing things and how we are viewing life. But the remedy is we need to instill and invigorate how we communicate with one another. The best way I've found is just to, be more social. Not social media social, but like social, like do things, go to the gym, say hi to someone, go to the movies and, like if you see someone, like after the movie, say, hey, did you enjoy the movie? Like it could be something small like that. I know people don't go to movies anymore, but maybe it could be something different, right? Like perhaps you are trying to think of other things that people can do, like grocery store, for example. If someone's behind you or they get something, for example, I'll give this example. I was shopping with my family the other day. This lady goes up to this other lady, and I'm going to use color too because I think it's important. Where this white lady goes up to this black lady, and she was like, "Is that good?" Like talking about some chicken fajitas or something. And then the white lady was like, "Oh, okay, good. And then so she probably asked her, number one, because she had it in her cart. But then number two, she was like, this lady looks like she knows how to cook, because like for my aunt, for example, like she just looks like she knows how to cook. You just know, right? So you would always ask like her recipes, like, hey, can you give me your favorite recipe? And she's like, no, I can't do that. I'm just thinking in my head, like, you have to be able to give it to someone. Otherwise, they're not going to have it, like, when you're gone. Because I was just talking to my wife the other day about my great grandmother and how she would make food and like like rice and the beans and stuff like that, where I have not had her food maybe a couple times, but it's always like a hit or miss type of thing. How in the world did she get the food to taste that way? And it's so funny. I remember one of her friends came, I believe it was Rosa or someone else. She came over, and this is like when I was in college. I showed up and she was talking to her friend, and the friend was just there watching her cook. Just like says, I have to see how she cooks. And the friend was just like, there's going to be one day when she's going to be gone and her recipe's going to be gone and everyone's going to wonder how she did it. Sure enough, that's what happened. No one knows how to make them, right? But then, the friend even went on to say that even after watching her, I probably can't make it like her. Why? It could be experience, right? It could be wisdom. It could be, maybe my grandmother, she has a secret recipe. In the moment the girl turned her back for 1 second, she threw the ingredient in and it remained a secret. Secrets don't make friends, they say, right? But it's interesting, right? Because in those moments we can appreciate, what we had more, right? And we can say, well, that was good. And then it can give us the wisdom to say, you know what, let me start to appreciate anything else that's in my life that's really good that I'm not paying attention to, because we start to adjust, right? So if things are bad, if things are not going our way, we can say, okay, well, I'm not going to do that again. For example, caveman and fire bad, right? I'm not putting my hand in fire anymore. I burned my hand in the stove. I'm not going to touch a stove anymore, right? We say, okay, I'm learning, I'm being more careful. Same thing can happen with, giving thanks, right? We can be more careful with how we are not giving thanks, right? Maybe you have been thankful to someone and maybe they have not given the thanks back, and maybe you can be more stingy with your thanks now, right? So maybe you could be thankful for, understanding that not everyone needs your thanks. Sure, right? Like we can go that way. At the end of the day, being thankful and appreciating what you have in life becomes a discipline. It becomes a mindset. We can instill that within ourselves. We can begin to write and journal and pay more attention to those moments in our life because they're all around us. You are listening to this because you have one of those moments. You can be thankful to listen, to the podcast. I'm not saying that you have to be thankful for the podcast, but that that you have hearing, that you have breath within you, that you have life within you. That could be enough, because after this episode, maybe even now, you might say, I'm going to go do the things that I'm going to be thankful that I did them. For example, people who don't want to go to the gym when they go to the gym. If I don't want to go to the gym today and I say, I don't want to go to the gym today, and I go to the gym, I'm more thankful and happy that I went to the gym than if I didn't go to the gym. Because you would think if I didn't go to the gym, I got exactly what I wanted. But the reality is sometimes you have to do the things that you don't want to feel how you do want. It's almost like a trick the mind and life plays on you. If you want to be successful, you have to take action. You have to get uncomfortable. But yet many people, they want comfort in life and they think they should be seeking comfort, right? You could be thankful for comfort here and there, but then you should also be thankful for your actions because they help you get new levels of comfort. It's like you can stay at this low level of comfort, or you can even get to a higher level of comfort. And you have to ask yourself, are you okay with what you have, or would you like some more? Most people, they would like a little bit more. If you are trying to get to that little bit more, don't forget to be thankful for what you have, because that's going to help multiply what you have. If you're just saying, I want to be thankful for that I don't have and not appreciate what I do have, you have almost no fuel or no motivation to do it, because there's a discrepancy in the divide from where you need to be, right? Where you are and where you want to be, there's a huge span, right? Even though it seems like it's just right there, how much work and how tireless you have to, be and get, right? Cooking the food on Thanksgiving is a great example. You get that raw turkey or frozen turkey. You get the stuffing in a box, or you make your stuffing from scratch. There's a process to it. It takes time for you to make it. It takes time for those ingredients to come together. And then you finally get the meal. In life at the end can be the meal. And every single day we're prepping, we're making things, we're doing the next step of the process, and eventually we get the end result. Maybe our end result is not so good. So we perfect it. We try again, and it becomes better. And it becomes more enhanced, and it becomes more enhanced. It becomes more robust. And in life, the same thing can happen. We can flourish, we can grow, we can prosper. During that process, we become more thankful. When that thanks begins to hit our mind on a consistent and regular basis, we begin to take more action. And at the end of the day, if we can take more action, we're going to have more successes and more results. And that is a good place to be.